now we start with the second chapter, that is schools of jurisprudence. Now there are various schools of jurisprudence which has laid down your basis of the theorist or the theories which have come from the theorist. So now first school is historical school of jurisprudence. From the name you understand that it is dealing with history. So yes, you are going to look into the origin, sources of history or of your laws, from where has exactly the law come into picture. So historical school of jurisprudence deals with general principles governing the origin, source and development of law. So it's majorly targeting on origin, source and development. So it is looking from how is your concept, how is your legal principles being framed. Then an interpretation changes with the legal system. So now it is not restricted to one principles or one jurisdiction. It is saying that histories will be different for different jurisdiction, and hence the interpretation also will change, because seeing the system, seeing the custom, seeing your environment, how exactly was the social phenomena existing in your during olden days. So that's what is historical jurisprudence is focusing on, that you are supposed to dig in from the history, from the origin, source and development of the law, and that's when you will come to know that this was the legal system prevailing and this were the principles which were prevailing during those days, and and what was the logic behind those. Now, historical jurisprudence is based upon past known facts. So they are just looking into facts which were which were existing in the past and were being followed and were actually recognized. So the major question here to know what historical jurisprudence is, how did law come to be? So this is where, if you know that, if you are finding out any of the principles, any of the laws, and if you question how did the law come into picture, so that is where you are actually going into the school of historical jurisprudence, and you are looking from the theorists who have supported historical school of jurisprudence. So now if we take an example that there is reservations in the educational system. Now from where is it coming? How is it coming? Why? Because in the past, if we see in India or around the world, like in most of the part of the country, there were not adequate rights given to the downtrodden. Now for them there is reservation in the system. So that is where you come to know that, okay, this system has, or this concept has come because there was some reason behind it, because they were not given justice during those days. They did not have equal opportunities during those days, and hence to promote them in this society, in this world, we have given them an equal place by giving reservation to the people who are actually, who actually needed it. So this is where we say that reservation has come into picture, or this is one of the examples where we look into historical school of jurisprudence. Now there are some of the theorists who are in support of historical school of jurisprudence. They are Montesquieu, Hugo, Carter, Savigny. These are like some of the 4 or 5 famous theorists who have supported historical school of jurisprudence, though there are many jurists who have supported historical school of jurisprudence. Now we come to the second school of jurisprudence, that is analytical jurisprudence. Now from the basis of the word again, you will understand what is analytical. So you are going to analyze the law, you are going to understand the law. So here it deals with the discovery, analysis of fundamental propositions, which are concepts upon which an actual legal system is based. So now again you are studying the fundamental proposition or fundamental concepts, like the fundamental base of the legal system, and you are analyzing it. What, how, all your questions will come in analysis, or you will be doing comparative analysis, which is a separate school which we will deal in detail later. So you are going to analyze the law, you are going to dissect the law, and you will understand or you will come to know that how did that law come into picture and what were the analysis, what were the backings behind the law. So now there are 2 concepts in analytical jurisprudence, because you are going to analyze, so you need to understand what are the concepts. One is utilitarianism principle. Now this you might have studied in your economics also. So the best example in economics it was given that if you are hungry and you are eating one apple, you will feel satisfied, and you will be more than happy, and your hunger will be like satisfied. But if you eat the second apple, you will not get that satisfactory feeling, because you already have consumed one apple. So that was the concept which was given in economics, if you guys can vaguely remember. Then, so as per jurisprudence, utilitarianism is the doctrine that actions derives their usefulness as means to some end. So now the major focus is derives usefulness as means to some end. So now there is end, usually as we said in jurisprudence, is justice. So whatever is path to justice is your deriving some means towards that end. So for whatever is your whatever can give you, attain you justice, you are going to follow that path, you are going to follow those principles. So that is utilitarianism principle. Then there is second principle, which is positivism and normative principle, or positive law and normative law. Now what is positive law? Positive law is what is. It is only dealing with the question what is. What exactly is the law right now? What exactly is the legal system right now? It is not going to look into past, it is not going to look into future, it is not looking anything. Right now what is being given, what is in the black and white, or what is how is grey interpreted, grey language interpreted, that is what is only positive law. So it is not going outside the periphery of what right now is existing. So the major or a simple question to understand what is positive law is what is prevalent, what is existent. Now second thing is normative. Now normative is something which is in support of the first four principles which we studied, that is ideal. So the question for normative is what ought to be. So what exactly the jurists have thought, what exactly the theorist had thought about it, what exactly will result in ideal situation. So that is what ought to be is your normative principle. So till now we've done utilitarianism principle, positive principle and normative principle. So all of this is in your analytical jurisprudence. Mostly analytical jurisprudence deals only with positive principles, that is positive law, what is. So they are actually analyzing what currently is the law, what currently is the legal system, how is everything being functioned at present. So that is what is. So analytical jurisprudence is detailed analysis related to the articulation of legal axioms and the definition of the legal terms, and prescribing the method allowing one to perceive legal order. So here you are looking into legal terms, legal order. So that is where you are going to analyze it. You are going to understand, okay, this is the law, this is where is your analysis. Like you are going to have your permutations, combinations in analyzing. So that is your analytical jurisprudence. The major contributors for this schools are Bentham, Austin, Salmon. So all of these theorists are a positivist theory. They support what is concept, that is positive law concept, and they are basically in analytical school of jurisprudence. Now the third school that we are dealing with is sociological jurisprudence. Now as again, sociological, what does it say? That you're supposed to look into the society. What exactly is the ethics, morality of the society? So hence from the wordings again you will understand what exactly sociological jurisprudence dealing with. It considers the interaction of social forces and law. This approach takes law as an instrument of social progress. So now again you are concentrating from that four principles. We had gone to stability, peaceful, and progress of the society, growth of the society, like for the last one. So that is coming from sociological jurisprudence, where you want to attain a society which is peaceful in nature, which is growing in nature, and it has a growth, it has growth simultaneously. So it has progress, like it's a social progress. So now here again sociological jurisprudence deals with what is, which is again positive in nature, positive, it is focuses on positive law, rather than normative law. So right now again they will concentrate on what is, and then they will see that is this the right thing which will lead us to social progress, social stability. So investigation of the effects of social phenomena of the legal order. So again you are going to investigate the social phenomena of the legal order. You are going to understand that why this system is prevailing and what exactly is the social order behind the system. So the major theorist for sociological jurisprudence is Pond, Hebel, Keynes, Duggett. All of these are your famous contributors to your social jurisprudence. Now we come to the fourth school, which is philosophical jurisprudence. Now philosophical jurisprudence, again as the word says, deals with philosophy. So it involves the examination of the end which the law designed or intended to achieve. Now here you are coming to your next concept, which is normative. What ought to be. So here you are saying that ends which the law designed or intended to achieve. So you are thinking from an ideal perspective that this is what finally the law wanted to achieve, or this is what the principles or the legal system or a theorist wanted to achieve, and this is what is an ideal system. So here you are going to concentrate on ideal system. What final aim, what was the final aim, what was the end that needed to be achieved. Now as we had seen that if you have an ideal system, it will lead to peace, stability or prosperity, growth of the society. So again similarly this philosophical school also says that, so once you know what it ends to achieve or what it had intended to achieve, it will result, like the end result will be maintenance of peace, order, morality and justice in society. So we had covered what is we had covered peace, progress, prosperity and growth. So which is almost similar, the only and justice is something which we had always said that jurisprudence aims to seek or attain justice. And here they are saying you will also focus on morality, which you don't need to say that it focuses on morality, because jurisprudence or your if you have an ideal system, there will not be any conflict and everything will be as per the moral and ethics of an individual. So now the major contributors for this philosophical jurisprudence is Grotius, Bacon, Kant, Hegel, Spinoza. So all of them are like the philosophical jurists and they have supported this school. Now we come to socialist jurisprudence. Socialist, as we know, is dealing with economics, economy. So this is where again socialist jurisprudence will study on the impact of economics and capitalism upon law and society. So what exactly, why is GDP going up, why is GDP going down, that everything is coming under your socialist jurisprudence because you are dealing with the economics of the society. So economic rulers to keep the masses in subjection and exploit them. So the basic rule or basic jurisprudence for socialist was to keep the masses in subjection and exploit them. So one of the reason where they studied this instrument or this school came into picture is to keep the people or into subject. They are actually constantly viewing them, how are they performing. So on the basis of the performance, and then how are their value or how is their skills being utilized and exploited, that's where they have come and come up with this school and the theories to support an individual and in turn support the economy of the society. So you might have heard about Karl Marx. He is one of this theorist of socialist jurisprudence. The others are Lenin, Revolt. All of them are again a theorist of socialist jurisprudence. Now we come to the other school, which is comparative jurisprudence. Now comparative jurisprudence, as we here again, we understand it is comparison between two schools or comparison between two principles, two laws, whatever it comes into your mind, there is going to be a comparison. So as we had discussed in our previous lecture, which is you are studying the presidential form of government and parliamentarian form of government. So those are again your comparing. So that is coming under your comparative jurisprudence. So where it says that this involves examination of doctrines, a variety of legal system in an attempt to establish areas of similarity and differences. So here again you are going to study both the systems. You are going to go into analysis, you are going to go into history of that system. So you are going to cover with the other systems also, but you are actually the final aim is you are comparing both the systems, and you have engaged in the jurisprudence of comparative analysis or comparative jurisprudence. So this jurisprudence or this school basically aims to know more or have a better insight about the legal system or the laws prevailing in different jurisdictions, or what was the reasoning behind it, to understand and then to have a similar pattern or to have a variant in a pattern. This is when your comparative jurisprudence helps you, and this is when you can finally come to a conclusion, seeing on the principle, seeing on the effect, seeing on the prosperity of that particular society, and then you can finally define that okay, this is the system which I support and my country can follow this system. So this is morely like you need to analyze like which system is going to help you. So comparative jurisprudence is mostly used in such principles. The major contributors to this systems are Maine, Boarding, Iring, Tallinn. So all of them are again jurists who have supported this system. The next school is realistic jurisprudence. Now what is realist jurisprudence? Realism. It is based on the concept of realism, which is a tendency to be concerned with the act rather with the ideas and perception. So it is actually looking at what you are performing, what are your actions, what are your behavior. It is not looking at what you had achieved or what you wanted to achieve. It is not looking into your ideas and perception. It is looking at how are you acting right now, how are you performing right now. So basic example here I will take is of the legal system or of your judiciary. They will see how are the judges performing, how is the judiciary performing, are they efficient enough to handle all the cases, are they efficient enough to dictate the orders on the basis of the laws being framed. So they are seeing on the action rather than what exactly are the ideas and perceptions. So they are not looking into ideal that this is what they had aimed, but they are again concentrating on positivism law, which is as is principle. So again, some of the theorists are Holmes, Gray, Frank, Ross, Casbourn. Then we have a synthesis jurisprudence, which is a combination of two jurisprudence, two schools. So any of the schools you pick up, and if you are doing like a comparative analysis, and then you are looking into history also, and then you are analyzing. So here you are dealing with three schools. So that is historical school, analytical school, and comparative jurisprudence as it is. So this is going to come into your synthesis jurisprudence. So it is a combination of two schools that is leading to your synthesis jurisprudence. So after schools of law, we will study the functions and purpose of law. What exactly is the function and what exactly is the purpose of law? So as per John Salmon, we will see law, he says that law is an instrument of society, a very vital instrument. So without law there can be nothing, there cannot be any synchronization in law. So that's like a very vital instrument. And then he says that law seeks to achieve justice, stability and peaceful change. Now we are again coming back to our main four principles, where we had said in the last column that if you have an ideal law or an ideal situation, there will be justice, there will be stability, there will be peaceful change. So again, that is what is your final functions and purpose of law. So now we come to justice. What exactly does justice mean? And we had said jurisprudence seeks to achieve, or the main aim of jurisprudence is to achieve justice. So justice, where most of the jurists say, law is merely an instrument to achieve justice. So if you want to achieve justice, it is going to be through law, because that's one of the instrument to attain justice. It is not, law itself is not going to give you justice, it is an instrument. So you have to follow the law, then only you will get justice. So there are two sense, like wider and narrower sense, where the theorists have said. So in the wider sense, justice is a synonymous equated with morality and is given a natural law interpretation. So we'll deal with the natural law theory in the next lecture. But what exactly they are saying is morality and natural law interpretation. So you are again thinking from your conscious, ethics, principles, morals. So that is where that's given as a wider sense of justice, the meaning of justice. While and this view was given by Thomas Aquinas. Now to understand what is the narrower sense, justice means impartiality and or equality. It entails fair, equal treatment of all, and that like must be treated alike. So everyone with the, this is majorly dealing with your Article 14 of the Constitution, where they say that there has to be impartiality, equality, and everyone in the same reasonable classification is allowed. So everyone in the same criteria, everyone in the same category will have the same law. So this narrower sense is being supported by Salmon, while the wider sense is being supported by Thomas Aquinas and Augustine. So now once we go to what exactly is justice, there are two types of justice. One is distributive justice, the other one is corrective justice. So distributive justice means to attain social development or social, your principles, social ideal. So how can that be done? If there is a fair division, then only you will be able to attain social justice. So distributive justice ensures fair division of social benefits and burden among the members of the community of a country. So they are distributing between the benefits and the burdens among the members of the country. So from this you can understand that you have tax slabs. So why are your tax slabs coming? Because there is a distributive justice. The higher earning members are paying the higher tax, while the lower earning members will pay low tax. So you are actually distributing the burden also of that individual, and you will attain a social justice or a social stability on the basis of your distributive justice. Then distributive justice serves to secure a balance or equilibrium among the members of the society. So there has to be some balance in the society. You cannot have anarchy in the society. So that's the reason you have distributive justice, where everyone has the right, or everyone is getting an equal right, equal distribution of the right. Now there is a theorist called as Rousseau-Pont, who's again a very famous theorist. His concept or his theory deals with social engineering. Now what exactly is social engineering? Social engineering is the improvement of the law in the light of social wants of the time, so that law may procure the greatest good of the largest number in the society. So again, Rousseau-Pont, being a socialist and thinking about social engineering, he is looking at attaining the highest or the largest number in the society, like the greatest good for the largest number in the society. So he wants peace, stability, and not one person or one society or one class of the society to face any burden or hardship, and it has to be borne by the society as large, and that's when your progress of the society will happen. So social engineering concept is also coming from distributive justice. Now, distributive justice is based on the principle that there is equal distribution amongst the equal. Now again, they are putting up amongst the equals, where your Article 14 of the Constitution gives you right of having reasonable classification. So this is amongst the equals, where you can have a separate class for a separate individual. There should be a grouping or classification of people. Equality and justice can be achieved only when people are fairly, rationally grouped. So reasonable classification, as we know in Article 14, says that there has to be some logical or rational grouping of an individual. Even one individual can form a class, but there has to be a region, like a logical backing and a rationally, stand behind having that class of a person or the group of person. Now we come to the second type, which is corrective justice. Now what is corrective justice is when there is a distributive justice or whatever justice is prevailing, but it is not going properly in order and there is some anarchy or there is non-compliance of that justice. So that's when your corrective justice comes into picture and it corrects or verifies what justice was given. So when distributive justice is infringed, so there is a breach of distributive justice, then there is a disequilibrium which needs to be rectified through corrective justice. So now you are going to have a corrective justice to modify modify what was wrong, to modify what went wrong or what the person has committed a breach of. So the procurement of remedies is the job of corrective justice, which is enforced through the courts of law and involves enforcement of law with the citizen is bound to observe. So now, as we had seen, law and then legal system. So this is basically dealing with the legal system where your corrective justice can be implemented and enforced when the law is distributed but it is being breached or infringed and it's not being followed. So hence your corrective justice comes into picture. So now these are the functions and purpose of law. So this all is coming under justice. Now the second important function is stability, which again we had dealt in your 4 major principles. So that is stability. Now in stability we know that we need to have one stable, one law where we know that this is what is going to be implemented if it is being breached. So these are the punishments or these are the repercussions of not following the law, and it's been applicable to all individuals. It is impartial, and so you do not have any we do not have any criteria for one person or criteria for another person. It is equal. So that is where you will attain a stability. So justice is not only the goal of law, but the other desirable outcome of law is stability. So this is like the second important role or aim of jurisprudence. First, as we know, is justice. Second is stability. Third will be consistency. There should be stability of the society, the government, judiciary and politics. Law is very helpful in bringing about stability. So it is not only concentrating on the society, definitely society, because it encompasses your government, judiciary and politics. So if you have government, if you have judiciary, if you have politics, in the society everything needs to be stable. Even the citizen, they need to understand that this is the right thing and this is what the law is, and if you are following the law, it is stable. It will not create any anarchy in the society. So unless and until the vast majority of people think and believe in the same values, there cannot be stability. So everyone needs to accept the law. Everyone needs to follow the law and understand the law. If that is being done, then there is stability. If one person has a different interpretation and wants to do it in a different way, and the other person is doing it in a different way, but if they both are attaining justice and they are without any fight, they are attaining justice, then it will still be stable. But if they start fighting or they start doubting the other person's right or they start doubting the other person part towards justice, then it will not be stable and it will create there will be disruption in the society. Stability is brought about by uniformity and certainty of law. So this is what we had said, that it has to be uniform, it has to be certain, that if this is breached, if this is infringed, one of the principles is infringed, it is going to have some deterrent effect, it is going to be attracted with some punishment. So that is what is your stability. The other principle is peaceful change. Now, what exactly is peaceful change? That we have already studied that there are certain laws which are stubborn, or certain countries which are stubborn in amending their laws. So that will not help for peaceful change, because as the time is changing, the society is changing, the needs also of the citizen or the society changes. To compare with that changes, or to be with that changes, you need to have a peaceful change. So you can amend it, but it has to be as per the law. So there has to be some rights or flexibility in amendment, but it should not be super flexible that you can amend whenever you want and whoever has powers can amend. So it has to be somewhere, you have to have checks and balances to check that this is the right way. Right now is the amendment to the law or to the judicial system or the legal system is required, and then hence there will be a peaceful change which will later make you come to or achieve to an ideal situation. So Rousseau point in for stability has said that law must be stable and yet cannot stand still. So there hence has to be amendment as per the requirement, as per the changes in the law. Now, what exactly are the other functions of the of law? That is happiness to the of the greatest number. There has to be satisfaction of lot many people. Everyone needs to be happy. And everyone needs to be satisfied, everyone needs to be given attention in the society. So that is your happiness of the greatest number. Then to win acceptance or tolerance of the vast majority. So there has to be acceptance in the society, there has to be tolerance in the society of the vast majority. So they need to accept the law, they need to follow the law. If, as I said, if they do not follow the law and they have different modes of following the law, then it will create disturbance in the society. Then there is compromise. Law is a compromise between the rulers and the ruled, or the state and the citizen. So some or the other person might have to give up their liberty. So as we take in the system of our tax slabs, if the higher class says, why are we paying higher? Even we should be given equality and everyone needs to have a same rate. That will not create stability in the, or there will not be a peaceful change in the system. Everyone will have disruption, because the person who is earning very low will say, why should I pay that high tax when I am not earning that much? And the higher person, the person who is getting into the high slabs of tax, he'll be like more than happy. He'll be like, okay, I am not paying that much tax, it's okay, I can earn as much as I can and I know this much is what I have to pay. That's the limit. So it is going to create disturbance, there is not going to be proper functioning in the society. So that is, so one person will have to, like one class, one person or one of the system will have to compromise to accommodate other principles or other rights of the other person. Then you finally have protection of interest. Now what exactly is protection of interest? You are protecting the interest of the other person, or you are protecting the interest of the law. Like what exactly does the law want? So that you are actually trying to protect the interest of the law. The protection of interest by law in the past is questioned to be answers by legal history, whereas what types of interest that law must protect is a question for legal philosophy to answer. So they are going into philosophical concepts and they are saying that if if there has to be interest, some interest, so here it's going to be a little contradictory, because first we said that has to be compromise. But why are you compromising? Because there is some attainment or some like you had thought about some principle that needs to be achieved. So hence you are compromising. If you are compromising, then that principle needs to be attained. So that to attaining that principle, there has to be some interest. So because if you are attaining that principle, that is called as you are protecting your interest, and hence you are ready to compromise. So protection of interest can be anything. It can be of an individual level, it can be of a class level, it can be of a group level, it can be of a legal interest, a legal system, or it can be of law.